There is absolutely no need to work hard. Well, let me be clear, there's no need to work hard unless you are self aware. Because one thing that I've observed time and time again in what I do and in my friends, my colleagues, other startup founders is that they tend to get burned out pretty fast, especially those who are highly ambitious, very driven, and have big dreams in their lives. For those people, I often see that they spend hours and hours and weeks and doing just one thing constantly, and they inevitably reach a position where they are doing a lot of things, but they're not getting instant results, or they're not getting enough to gratify themselves. And that kind of counters the point of all the hard work that is usually put in. So I'm being grown up in an Indian household pretty early on. Academics was given a lot of importance, and for a lot of time, people considered the number of hours that one puts in to be a measure of how dedicated one is and how successful a person would be. But with time, I've realized that being self-aware plays a huge role in helping at least me decide what kind of things yields the best results for me, what kinds of activities, what kind of actions results in me putting the best work out there. And that, I think, is very important, where just blind hard work just does not yield the results. And the second aspect of it is that one thing people miss out is you need to compete with yourself, nobody else. Comparing your own journey or your own day-to-day life to absolutely anyone else is highly counterproductive. One might think that, oh, that person is successful and that person does these 5 things, and hence I should also be doing those 5 things. More often than not, I believe that if you try to replicate what others do, you end up in a position where you go against your own grain, and obviously you don't see the results that the other person did, because there must have been 5 other things that person is naturally capable of, which you are not. So the best way is to compete with yourself. And I was actually reading an article by Harvard Business Review of an interview that was taken from a lot of gold medal athletes, Olympic gold medal athletes, and they were kind of asked, how did you keep yourself motivated when things didn't go well? And a common theme that came across almost all the successful athletes was that when they practiced and in their day-to-day routines, they always tried to compete with themselves. They always try to improve themselves, even if it is by a fractional margin, and usually as much as they can not let others' performance affect how they do. And so that's another important aspect as well. And it kind of plays into the concept that productivity should not be measured in the number of hours one's put in. L&T, which is one of the largest public works company in India, the CEO of that company recently came under a lot of hot water by saying that, oh, I wish I could force my workers to work on Sundays as well. And that comment raised a lot of outrage, where there is a huge disconnect between the leadership, between the CEOs and the people who put in the day-to-day work, where I understand what that person was saying, where that, hey, work should be your life, you should dedicate yourself to the growth of you and your company and your country, and everything else should come secondary. He even said, like, why do you want to spend time on Sundays just looking at your wife? Why would you want to do that? And that again highlights a mindset that you need to grind. You need to just focus on one thing and one thing alone, and just make it a center of your life and sacrifice everything else. To that, I would say that, of course, there are sacrifices, but I wouldn't call it sacrifices. I would call it choices. There are choices that you make on your own accord, which results in you doing certain things and missing out on certain things for the goal of achieving something that is that you really work hard for. And that plays into the concept that the idea of smart work and not hard work should be on the focus of it, because some people tend to be more productive in certain times of the day. Some people tend to be productive late at night. Some people tend to be productive after food. Some people not so much. And so just having that self-awareness is also very important to determine how you choose to spend your hours. And you should definitely not use that as a comparison chart to make yourself feel better, that hey, I worked for 10 hours today and so I must be better than the other guy out there. I just don't think it works like that. Every person is different. Every person, once they're self-aware to an extent, they are able to maximize their output and then maximize the probability of success. And hence quality of work is what matters and not quantity. And this is very simple thing to say, but very, very hard to think about, implement, and incorporate in your day-to-day life. And this is something that I've been thinking of quite a bit recently. I just wanted to share that.